What is copyright? Put simply, copyright is a form of protection given to the authors or creators of original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and other intellectual works. What that means is that, as the author of the work, you alone have the right to do any of the following or let others do any of the following: make copies of your work, distribute copies of your work, perform your work publicly, such as for plays, film, dances, or music, display your work publicly, such as for artwork or stills from audiovisual works, or any material used on the internet or television, and make unoriginal works, including making modifications, adaptations, or other new uses of a work, or translating the work to another medium. Copyright law is meant to promote learning and creativity while protecting authors' rights. This law protects original works of authorship. For example, literary works, musical works, dramatic works, motion pictures, sound recordings, and audiovisual material. Some materials that are not covered are ideas, procedures, methods, concepts, and works that are not in any fixed tangible works of expression, as well as most government documents. The most common scenario in academia is whether you or a colleague are working on a project and it involves the reproduction or the use of a book, film, song, or other work created by someone else. Usually the question that follows is it fair use? What is fair use? The fair use policy allows limited copying of copyrighted works for educational and research purposes. The copyright law provides that reproduction for purposes such as criticism, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. The law lists the following factors in determining whether a particular use of a copyrighted work is a permitted fair use instead of an infringement of the copyright law. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. For example, photocopying for handouts in the classroom is more likely to be fair use rather than making copies for a professional meeting or posting graphs or charts on a website used in connection with a research study rather than a commercial catalog. Always consider the targeted audience as a factor. The nature of the copyrighted work: the more factual and less creative the work, the more likely it will be fair use. In this case, fair use applies more to works of nonfiction, such as articles or books about science, math, politics, versus novels, poetry, literature, and most works of fiction. Again, the purpose of the copyright law, including fair use, is to promote knowledge and scholarship. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyright work as a whole. Quantity is best evaluated relative to the length of the entire original work and the amount needed to serve a proper purpose. For example, you may copy a chapter of a book, but not the whole book to be distributed in class or online through a learning management system. Nowadays, technology gives us the opportunity to link to the original work instead of making photocopies or scanning. Consult your librarian for assistance. The effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. In other words, is the use taking away from the copyright owner money that he or she might have been making from the work? For example, if an online service allows downloading of sound recordings for free, this may deter a person from purchasing the item. When using images in your presentations, lectures, or in learning management systems, keep in mind the following. All images should be in the public domain or be permissible for educational use, or be your own image, or from a resource licensed by the library for image use, or be cited and include the URL and date accessed, if not your own image. Citing images found on the internet is essential to ensure the image can be used appropriately. Including citation information such as the date retrieved is usually a good practice when preparing your presentation. If you are unsure about the use of an image, consult with your librarian. Librarians can assist faculty to identify as well as verify what is permissible, how to cite the image, and assist with permissions for images in presentations or publications. One way of finding copyright-free images is by a simple search on Google. Type your search term in the search box and click on the Images tab. Then on Search Tools, you can filter by size, color, type, time, and usage rights. Click on the drop-down menu labeled Usage Rights. You can filter by Not Filtered by License, labeled for reuse with modification, labeled for reuse, labeled for non-commercial reuse with modification, labeled for non-commercial reuse. Another way to find copyright-free images is using the advanced search feature in Google. Type in your term in the search box, then click on the widget and select Advanced Search. If you scroll down, you can use filters to narrow your search either by language, domain, and of course, usage rights. The advanced search filter called Usage Rights lets you know when you can use, share, modify something you find online. Remember, before reusing content or images, make sure that its license is authentic and check the exact terms of reuse. For example, the license might require that you give credit to the image creator when you use the image. Google and most search engines cannot tell if the license label is legitimate, so definitely practice due diligence. Ask yourself these questions. What domain is the image coming from, such as .org, .edu, .gov, or .com? An image coming from a .com or commercial entity may be more suspect than the one coming from the .edu, an educational organization. Does the image have a statement of use? If you're not 100% sure, please contact your librarian to investigate the original source. According to Google, when using this feature, make sure you understand the different type of usage rights. Free to use or share allows you to copy or redistribute its content if the content remains unchanged. Free to use, share, or modify allows you to copy, modify, or redistribute in ways specified in the license. Commercially, if you want the content for commercial use, be sure to select an option that includes the word commercially. For additional resources on copyright, visit the FIU copyright guides listed in the description of this video.